Have you ever looked at your life and whispered, "Why is everything falling apart? Why now? What did I do wrong?" People come to me with tears in their eyes and say, "Louise, I feel like everything is slipping out of my hands. My job, my plans, my relationships, my sense of who I am." And I want to take their hands the way I want to take yours right now and say very gently, "What if this is not the end? What if this is the rearranging? What if the pieces are not shattering to punish you, but to move into places they could never reach while you were holding so tightly to the old?" We have been taught to see falling apart as failure, as proof that we're broken, as a sign that life is against us. Yet, from a deeper perspective, falling apart is very often a phase of dismantling, where what no longer matches your next chapter is lovingly, or sometimes dramatically, peeled away. The container you have been living in has become too small. The beliefs you've been carrying are too heavy. The roles you've been playing are too tight. The walls start to crack not because you are worthless, but because your soul has grown. Let us redefine this phrase together. Instead of saying, "My life is falling apart," consider, "The structures that no longer fit me are being taken down." Instead of, "Everything is being destroyed," you might whisper, "Everything that can't come with me is being released." The truth, though it can sting, is this: life does not break you to punish you. Life breaks what is false to protect what is true in you. The relationship that collapses when you finally stop abandoning yourself. The job that ends when your spirit cannot breathe there anymore. The plan that falls through because it was never really your dream. It was something you thought you should want. At the human level, this feels like chaos. At the soul level, it is clarity. I like to picture it this way. The storm does not come to block your path. The storm comes to sweep the old debris off your path so you can finally see where you're going. You stand in the wind and say, "Everything is flying away." But what if you are actually being cleared? What if what looks like loss is, in the long story of your life, a deep act of protection? Now, I want to talk about one of the biggest, most misunderstood reasons that life sometimes seems to strip us down. So many of you are praying, affirming, hoping for big blessings, greater love, more abundance, meaningful work, a peaceful home, a sense of purpose, and those are beautiful desires. You are absolutely allowed to want them. You are worthy of good things. But imagine for a moment that a very large blessing is like a very large, very full bowl. If your hands are shaky, if your arms are weak, if your posture is collapsed, can you carry it without spilling? Can you hold it when it gets heavy? Can you keep it when the first challenge comes? Life knows when the blessing you are asking for is heavier than the inner strength you currently have. This is not criticism. This is truth. If a new level of responsibility, love, visibility, or abundance arrived right now, could the current version of you sustain it, protect it, nurture it? Or would old patterns, self-doubt, self-sabotage, lack of boundaries, fear of success, slowly erode it? When everything seems to be falling apart, sometimes what is really happening is that the universe is preparing you to be able to carry the very good you are asking for. You are being stretched so you can hold more. Your patience is being strengthened. Your emotional muscles are being trained. Your sense of self-worth is being rebuilt. You are learning boundaries, discipline, self-knowledge, all the qualities that make large blessings sustainable instead of temporary. From the outside, it looks like rejection. The relationship didn't happen. The opportunity collapsed. The timing failed. From the inside, From the level of soul, it is an upgrade. A loving universe looks at you and says, "No, not like this. You are not ready to receive this in a way that will be truly kind to you. Let us build you up first." So, I want to ask you a very honest question. If the thing you dream of most, more love, more success, more money, more visibility, arrived tonight, just as it is in your fantasies, do you honestly feel ready to keep it? Not just enjoy the first rush, but stay steady when it triggers your deepest fears, when it asks you to set bigger boundaries, when it shines a light on your old wounds. If your answer is, "I don't know," or even, "Probably not," then this season of falling apart may be your training ground. The lonely nights where you learn to comfort yourself, the financial struggles where you learn to handle money consciously, the broken promises where you finally stop abandoning your own needs. These are not punishments, they are preparation. You are not being denied, you are being developed. Another reason life sometimes halts us so abruptly is what I like to call course correction. Imagine you are driving very fast down a road that seems logical, respectable, even admired, but deep in your heart, a small voice keeps saying, "This isn't it, this isn't it, this isn't it." Maybe it's the career your family expected. Maybe it's the relationship everyone says is perfect on paper. Maybe it's the identity you built to survive a painful past. You keep going because it feels safer to continue than to question. You push down the whispers. You distract yourself. You say, "I should be grateful. I should be content," even as something inside you quietly wilts. When we ignore the whispers long enough, life has a way of raising its voice. First a nudge, then a bump, and if we still refuse to listen, sometimes a very loud knock, a health scare, a breakup, losing a job, a sudden move, a shocking truth revealed. We call it everything falling apart. But often what has fallen apart is the illusion that we were on the right path. From the soul's perspective, these collapses are a form of rescue. The bridge you were on was leading to a cliff, and life knocked out a section so you couldn't run off the edge. It feels like cruelty in the moment. It often reveals itself as kindness much later. Many people, when they look back, can see a time when they were furious that something ended, furious at the timing, at the loss, at the inconvenience. And yet, years down the line, they say, "Thank God it ended when it did. I can see now that if I had stayed, if I had continued, it would have cost me so much more." I wonder if you can remember a moment like that. A door that slammed, a plan that failed, a person who left. And at the time you thought, this is the worst thing that could happen. But now, looking back, you see that it was a turning point that saved your heart, your health, your sanity, your future. I would like you to bring one of those memories to mind if you can. Close your eyes for a moment, breathe, and recall a time you were blocked, rejected, or forced into a change. Let yourself feel how painful it was then. Let yourself also remember what grew from that ground later. Can you recognize even a little that there was protection woven into that disruption? That does not mean the pain wasn't real. That does not mean what happened was good in every detail. It simply means that life was willing to shatter what could not carry you further, even at the cost of your comfort. And if that was true then, it may be true now. So when you look around and say, "Everything is falling apart," try adding one more sentence. "I am willing to believe that things might actually be falling into place in a way I cannot yet see." You are being prepared to hold bigger blessings. You are being nudged, or pushed onto a road that truly belongs to you. You are not being thrown away. You are being repositioned. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. The thought, my life is over, can become, my old life is over, and my new life is being built. The thought, I'm being punished, can become, I'm being protected and upgraded, even if it hurts. You do not have to see the full picture to trust that a picture exists. You only have to be willing, in this very difficult season, to soften one thought. From everything is against me to, maybe, just maybe, something is being rearranged for me. Life loves you. It may not always feel soft, but it is always on the side of your growth, your truth, your wholeness. And when it allows something to fall, it is only so that what truly fits you has room to rise. And now, my love, I want to speak to you about something very tender. Those seasons when life begins to quietly or violently remove what has simply reached its expiration date in your story. There are chapters, there are costumes, there are roles that were once exactly what you needed. That relationship may have been the safest place you'd ever known at the time. That job may have kept you fed and taught you important skills. That belief, I must be strong all the time. I must please everyone. I must be perfect to be loved, might have been the only way you knew how to survive your childhood or your early years. It all fit then. It was right for who you were. But as you grow, as you learn, as you begin to taste self-respect and self-awareness, some of these things quietly expire. They don't become evil. They become too small. The relationship that once felt safe now feels suffocating. The job that once felt like a blessing now drains your soul. The identity of the good girl, the strong one, the fixer, the quiet one, starts to feel like a costume you can't breathe in. And when we cling to what has expired, life, in its deep wisdom, sometimes steps in and takes it apart for us. Not because you are being punished, because you have quietly outgrown it. Life does not take from you what you truly need. Life takes from you what you've quietly gone beyond. Think of a tree in autumn. The leaves that were once vibrant and necessary begin to wither. Does the tree hold on and scream, "No, my beauty, my identity, my proof that I'm alive"? No, it lets them fall. We do not stand in a forest and look at a tree losing its leaves and say, "Poor thing, it's failing." We say, "Ah, a new season is coming." Oh, the shedding is not a sign of weakness. It is preparation for a deeper rooting, a new kind of growth. The sap is moving inward so it can later move outward again with even more abundance. You too have seasons where what is falling away is simply what has finished its work. A friendship that cannot meet you in your new honesty. A work role that cannot contain your emerging gifts. A version of yourself that always says yes, that never rests, that constantly betrays your own needs. As long as these remain in place, there is no room for what truly matches who you are becoming. So the relationship cracks, the job collapses, the old identity starts to feel unbearable, and you stand there in the falling leaves and say, "Everything I knew is going away. Who am I without this? Where do I go now?" I want you to hear this very clearly. You are not what is leaving. You are the one who is still here. The part of you that can witness the shedding, that can grieve, that can learn, that is the real you. That is the part that life is protecting. If you feel like you're losing everything, ask softly, "Is it possible I'm losing only what no longer serves my next season?" You may not be ready to answer yes yet. That is all right. But you can begin with, I am willing to trust that life knows what has expired in me, even if I don't. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. My life is falling apart can gently become. The parts of my life that have expired are being released so that something truer can grow. There is another layer to this that is very powerful and sometimes very painful. Many of us, without realizing it, build our entire sense of safety on things outside of ourselves: a partner, a bank account, a title, a social image, a number on a screen. We say, if they love me, I am okay. If the money keeps coming, I am okay. If people admire me, I am okay. If I never disappoint anyone, I am okay. And life, which loves us too much to let us live as hostages, will sometimes allow those outer pillars to crack. Not because it delights in our pain, but because it wants us to discover the one foundation that cannot be taken away: the relationship we have with ourselves. I have often said, when a lover leaves, when the money changes, when the reputation crumbles, you are left with one person, you. If that relationship is shaky, every loss feels like death. If that relationship is tender and strong, every loss, while still painful, becomes survivable, even transformative. So what looks like everything being taken away may also be the slow removal of crutches you no longer need. The codependent relationship that falls apart so you can finally learn to hear your own voice. The job that defined your worth disappearing so you can discover your worth without a business card. The applause that fades so you can learn to approve of yourself in the quiet. Is it comfortable? No. Is it fair? It may not feel like it. But at the deepest level, life is offering you a chance to discover that you are more than what you lean on. It is asking, who are you when the show ends? Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when you are no longer performing for love? And as you begin to answer those questions, with honesty, with tears, with courage, you build something inside that no economy, no relationship, no trend can shake. Self-respect, boundaries, and self-love. Self-respect is when you say, even in this rubble, I will not speak to myself like an enemy. Boundaries are when you say, just because I am vulnerable does not mean I am available for harm. Self-love is when you place a warm hand on your own heart and whisper, I am here. I will not leave you. We will walk through this together. When you find even a small island of peace in the middle of your ruins, you become astonishingly powerful. The world can change, people can change, plans can change, and yet there is a place inside that stays kind to you. That is real strength. That is the kind of strength no one can take away, because you built it with your own choices. Life is not asking you to be invincible. It is inviting you to become anchored, less dependent on the ups and downs outside, more rooted in the love you offer yourself. In the rawest moments, I know this can sound like a theory that belongs in a book, not in your aching chest. So let's bring it down to one tiny practice you can do in the middle of your own mess. When everything feels broken, when the tears won't stop, when the fear is loud, pause. Put your hand on your heart or on your belly, wherever feels right. Feel the warmth of your own touch and say slowly, even if your voice shakes, in this moment, I still have me, and I am enough to begin again. You don't have to believe it fully. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to be willing to say it. Because it is true, my love. You still have you. The thinking, feeling, loving, learning being who has already survived every worst day of your life so far. You, the one who got you here. The one who is capable of learning, changing, growing, still here. And if you have you have a starting point. From that starting point, you can ask for help. Take one small step, breathe one deeper breath, make one kinder decision. Remember, life is not interested in destroying you. Life is interested in dissolving everything that keeps you small, afraid, and dependent on what can vanish. As the old falls away, even when it hurts, you are being invited to trust that what truly belongs to you, your essence, your capacity to love, your capacity to create, your connection to the flow of life, cannot be taken. The leaves that drop are not your death. They are the clearing that makes room for a new spring. You may not see the buds yet. That's all right. Trust the season. Trust the sap. Trust that even in the bareness, something inside you is being prepared. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. Everything is being taken from me, can soften into what has expired is leaving, and I am learning to stand with myself. I am nothing without them. That can become, I am someone even now, and I am enough to begin again. And as you repeat, right now, I still have me, and I am enough to start over. You are not just saying pretty words. You are rewiring the very place in you that once believed you could not survive without your crutches. You are teaching your heart that it can beat in its own rhythm. You are teaching your soul that it has value beyond any title or role. You are not the ruins. You are the builder standing among them, with trembling hands and a brave heart, ready to place the first new stone. Life loves you. Even in the tearing down, life is holding the blueprint of who you can become. And as you learn to love yourself there, in the dust and the silence, you become someone the storms can visit but never destroy. And now, my love, I want to speak to you about something very tender. Those seasons when life begins to quietly or violently remove what has simply reached its expiration date in your story. There are chapters, there are costumes, there are roles that were once exactly what you needed. That relationship may have been the safest place you'd ever known at the time. That job may have kept you fed and taught you important skills. That belief, I must be strong all the time. I must please everyone. I must be perfect to be loved, might have been the only way you knew how to survive your childhood or your early years. It all fit then. It was right for who you were. But as you grow, as you learn, as you begin to taste self-respect and self-awareness, some of these things quietly expire. They don't become evil, they become too small. The relationship that once felt safe now feels suffocating. The job that once felt like a blessing now drains your soul. The identity of the good girl, the strong one, the fixer, the quiet one starts to feel like a costume you can't breathe in. And when we cling to what has expired, life, in its deep wisdom, sometimes steps in and takes it apart for us. Not because you are being punished, because you have quietly outgrown it. Life does not take from you what you truly need. Life takes from you what you've quietly gone beyond. Think of a tree in autumn. The leaves that were once vibrant and necessary begin to wither. Does the tree hold on and scream, "No, my beauty, my identity, my proof that I am alive"? No, it lets them fall. We do not stand in a forest and look at a tree losing its leaves and say, "Poor thing, it's failing." We say, "Ah, a new season is coming." The shedding is not a sign of weakness, it is preparation for a deeper rooting, a new kind of growth. The sap is moving inward so it can later move outward again with even more abundance. You too have seasons where what is falling away is simply what has finished its work. A friendship that cannot meet you in your new honesty. A work role that cannot contain your emerging gifts. A version of yourself that always says yes, that never rests, that constantly betrays your own needs. As long as these remain in place, there is no room for what truly matches who you are becoming. So the relationship cracks, the job collapses, the old identity starts to feel unbearable. And you stand there in the falling leaves and say, everything I knew is going away. Who am I without this? Where do I go now? I want you to hear this very clearly. You are not what is leaving. You are the one who is still here, the part of you that can witness the shedding, that can grieve, that can learn. That is the real you. That is the part that life is protecting. If you feel like you're losing everything, ask softly, is it possible I am losing only what no longer serves my next season? You may not be ready to answer yes yet. That is all right. But you can begin with, I am willing to trust that life knows what has expired in me, even if I don't. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. My life is falling apart can gently become, the parts of my life that have expired are being released so that something truer can grow. There is another layer to this that is very powerful and sometimes very painful. Many of us, without realizing it, build our entire sense of safety on things outside of ourselves. A partner, a bank account, a title, a social image, a number on a screen. We say, if they love me, I am okay. If the money keeps coming, I am okay. If people admire me, I am okay. If I never disappoint anyone, I am okay. And life, which loves us too much to let us live as hostages, will sometimes allow those outer pillars to crack, not because it delights in our pain, but because it wants us to discover the one foundation that cannot be taken away, the relationship we have with ourselves. I have often said when a lover leaves, when the money changes, when the reputation crumbles, you are left with one person, you. If that relationship is shaky, every loss feels like death. If that relationship is tender and strong, every loss, while still painful, becomes survivable, even transformative. So what looks like everything being taken away may also be the slow removal of crutches you no longer need. The codependent relationship that falls apart so you can finally learn to hear your own voice. The job that defined your worth disappearing so you can discover your worth without a business card. The applause that fades so you can learn to approve of yourself in the quiet. Is it comfortable? No. Is it fair? It may not feel like it, but at the deepest level, life is offering you a chance to discover that you are more than what you lean on. It is asking, who are you when the show ends? Who are you when no one is watching? Who are you when you are no longer performing for love? And as you begin to answer those questions, with honesty, with tears, with courage, you build something inside that no economy, no relationship, no trend can shake. Self-respect, boundaries, and self-love. Self-respect is when you say, even in this rubble, I will not speak to myself like an enemy. Boundaries are when you say, just because I am vulnerable does not mean I am available for harm. Self-love is when you place a warm hand on your own heart and whisper, I am here. I will not leave you. We will walk through this together. When you find even a small island of peace in the middle of your ruins, you become astonishingly powerful. The world can change, people can change, plans can change, and yet there is a place inside that stays kind to you. That is real strength. That is the kind of strength no one can take away because you built it with your own choices. Life is not asking you to be invincible. It is inviting you to become anchored, less dependent on the ups and downs outside, more rooted in the love you offer yourself. In the rawest moments, I know this can sound like a theory that belongs in a book, not in your aching chest. So let's bring it down to one tiny practice you can do in the middle of your own mess. When everything feels broken, when the tears won't stop, when the fear is loud, pause. Put your hand on your heart or on your belly, wherever feels right. Feel the warmth of your own touch, and say slowly, even if your voice shakes, in this moment, I still have me, and I am enough to begin again. You don't have to believe it fully. You don't have to feel strong. You just have to be willing to say it. Because it is true, my love. You still have you. The thinking, feeling, loving, learning being who has already survived every worst day of your life so far. You, the one who got you here, the one who is capable of learning, changing, growing, still here. And if you have you, you have a starting point. From that starting point, you can ask for help, take one small step, breathe one deeper breath, make one kinder decision. Remember, life is not interested in destroying you. Life is interested in dissolving everything that keeps you small, afraid, and dependent on what can vanish. As the old falls away, even when it hurts, you are being invited to trust that what truly belongs to you, your essence, your capacity to love, your capacity to create, your connection to the flow of life, cannot be taken. The leaves that drop are not your death. They are the clearing that makes room for a new spring. You may not see the buds yet. That's all right. Trust the season. Trust the sap. Trust that, even in the bareness, something inside you is being prepared. It's only a thought, and a thought can be changed. Everything is being taken from me, can soften into what has expired is leaving, and I am learning to stand with myself. I am nothing without them. It, that, can become. I am someone even now, and I am enough to begin again. And as you repeat, right now, I still have me, and I am enough to start over. You are not just saying pretty words. You are rewiring the very place in you that once believed you could not survive without your crutches. You are teaching your heart that it can beat in its own rhythm. You are teaching your soul that it has value beyond any title or role. You are not the ruins. You are the builder standing among them, with trembling hands and a brave heart, ready to place the first new stone. Life loves you. Even in the tearing down, life is holding the blueprint of who you can become. And as you learn to love yourself there, in the dust and the silence, you become someone the storms can visit but never destroy. The final reason I want to share with you, my dear, is something many people feel but rarely have words for. Frequency match. The way your inner state quietly reorganizes the people and opportunities in your outer world. Think of your life like a radio station. If you are tuned to a frequency of self-doubt, fear, clinging, and drama, you will naturally pick up people and situations that resonate with that. It doesn't mean you are bad. It means you are broadcasting a certain signal, and life is simply sending you what matches. When a season of falling apart arrives, it often looks like people leaving, jobs ending, habits being stripped away, and you may think, why am I being abandoned? Why am I being left behind? But from another angle, what is happening is that your frequency is changing, and anything that cannot rise with you begins to loosen its grip. You can't fully step into a life of peace while still feeding an addiction to chaos. You can't fully receive a love based on respect while still believing you are unworthy. You can't fully live in abundance while still acting from constant panic and hoarding. So life, in its mysterious wisdom, allows the bonds that were built on fear, insecurity, and old identity to crack. The breakup, the friendship that fades, the group that no longer feels right, the job you can't force yourself to stay in. All of that can be a sign that the frequency that held you there has shifted. You are becoming brighter, clearer, truer to yourself, and the things that were a match to your dimmer, more frightened self can no longer anchor so tightly. Look at the patterns you are releasing in this falling apart season. Are you being asked to let go of someone you constantly chased for crumbs? Are you being pulled away from environments where you had to shrink to be accepted? Where your needs were always too much? Where your dreams were mocked or minimized? Are you seeing old dramatic cycles, fighting, rescuing, apologizing, walking on eggshells, finally wear you down to the point where you say, "No more, I can't do this version of life one more time"? That exhaustion, that holy no more, is you changing frequency. You are becoming less willing to accept what does not honor you, and that alone changes the people and opportunities that can stay in your orbit. In spiritual language, we call it the law of harmony, like attracts like, resonance meets resonance. As you begin to heal, you feel more allergic to disrespect. As you begin to love yourself, manipulation tastes bitter. As you begin to value your peace, constant drama becomes unbearable instead of exciting. You think, everyone is leaving me. But perhaps what is really happening is, everyone who can't or won't meet me at this new level is drifting away, making room for those who can. You are not being pushed out into the cold. You are being guided out of rooms where you no longer belong, toward spaces that fit the person you are becoming. This shedding process is not gentle for many of us because we are attached not just to people and roles, but to who we believed we were with them. The unworthy you had certain friends, certain lovers, certain patterns. The afraid you needed certain crutches, certain distractions, certain dramas. As your self-image shifts, as you learn to say, "I deserve kindness, I deserve respect, I deserve to feel safe," your frequency becomes more refined. You say no a little more. You walk away a little sooner. You pause before reacting. You choose a softer thought. You practice new boundaries. This is not just psychological. It is energetic. You stand differently. You speak differently. Your eyes shine differently. Your silence feels different. And life notices. People who feed on your insecurity may find you changed and pull away. People who cherish honesty, healing, and growth may begin to feel more drawn to you. Opportunities that require you to betray yourself feel heavier. Paths that honor your heart begin to feel lighter. You are not forcing this alignment. You are becoming it. I know it can be lonely in the in-between, when the old has broken and the new has not yet fully formed. It can feel like being in an empty train station after your train has left, unsure of where to go next. This is where I want you to remember a very important image. You are not being left behind. You are being carried back to where you truly belong. Imagine that you got on the wrong train years ago, a train of self-hatred, of settling, of pretending, of chasing people who never chose you fully. It took you far from your own heart. Now the train has stopped, the carriages are being cleared, and you are standing there wondering, why did my world fall apart? Because the ticket has run out, sweetheart. Because the destination of that train was never your true home. Life is asking you to step onto a different platform, to choose a new direction, to travel with a different company. This requires a shift, not only in what you do, but in what you believe you deserve. So when things fall away, instead of immediately saying, "What's wrong with me?" try asking, "What am I growing out of?" Instead of, "Why did they leave?" try, "What part of me is no longer available for that pattern?" Instead of, "My life is empty now," try, "My life is being cleared for something that matches who I am becoming." You are not meant to chase what keeps wounding you. You are meant to evolve beyond needing it. As your frequency rises, from self-attack to self-acceptance, from fear to trust, from chaos to peace, your external world will eventually rearrange to reflect that. It may take time. There may be detours. There will certainly be days when you miss the old, simply because it was familiar. On those days, put your hand on your heart and say, "I am willing to believe that being true to myself will attract people and opportunities that are true to me." That is frequency match in the language of love. You don't have to understand all the spiritual laws to live them. You don't have to see every future blessing to trust that letting go of what hurts you is wise. You only need to notice, gently and honestly, the ways you are becoming brighter, clearer, and kinder to yourself, and allow life to update around you. When people and experiences fall away as you heal, it is not a sign that healing was wrong. It is proof that healing is working. You are aligning with a new level of life, and anything that cannot breathe in that air will naturally fade. Let it. Cry if you must. Grieve what was beautiful. Acknowledge what was harmful. Bless what you can, and then turn your face toward the path ahead. Life loves you enough to not leave you stuck in frequencies of self-betrayal forever. As you choose new thoughts, new boundaries, new ways of being, your world will, in time, reflect that change. You are not being abandoned in the rubble. You are being escorted home to yourself, and from that home, that inner center of self-love and self-respect, every person and opportunity that truly belongs with you will find you more easily. You are not being left. You are being realigned. And that, even when it looks like everything is falling apart, is life moving you exactly where you need to be. I am a very practical woman, and I know that when your life feels like it's falling apart, the last thing you want is another theory. You want to know, what do I actually do when I'm in the middle of the fall? When my chest is tight, my mind is racing, and I feel like I'm in free fall with nothing to hold on to? I want to speak to that part of you today, the part that is scared, exhausted, maybe even angry at life. You don't need to pretend you're fine with everything collapsing. You don't need to call it beautiful while you're still hurting. You just need a few simple anchors. When things are crashing, we do not need 1,000 steps. We need a handful of loving instructions that we can remember even with tears in our eyes. So let's talk about what to do and what not to do when you feel like you are falling and nothing makes sense. When everything is shaking, the very first thing to do is simple. Stop. Pause. Just a little bit. When we are terrified, our mind wants to fix, change, rescue, decide, control, right now. That urgency is a trauma response, not wisdom. So if you can, Don't make huge decisions in a panic state. Don't quit everything in one night. Don't marry in one night. Don't move across the world in one night. Take a breath and say to yourself, I am allowed to wait. I am allowed to breathe. I am allowed to see clearly before I act. Place one hand on your heart and one hand on your belly. Feel the rise and fall and whisper, in this moment, I only need to breathe. Stopping for a moment does not mean you are weak. It means you are wise. When you pause, you interrupt the old pattern that says, I must fix this or I will die. You won't. You have lived through every hard day so far. You are allowed to sit on the edge of the bed, look out the window and say, I don't know yet, and that is okay for now. The second thing you can do when you are falling is to take care of the house you live in all the time, your nervous system, your body. When life is chaotic, the kindest thing you can do is to make your inner world a little less chaotic. That doesn't mean you suddenly become a wellness expert. It means you offer yourself what is basic, what is simple, what is stabilizing. Eat something that actually nourishes you, even if it's small. Drink water, take a warm shower, sleep when you can, or at least rest with your eyes closed for a few minutes. Walk around the block. Feel your feet touching the ground with each step. These are not trivial. They are medicine. They tell your body, you are worth caring for even now, especially now. Dear, remember, the body is often still reliving shock long after the event. Gentle routines, eating, sleeping, moving, breathing, are like telling a frightened child, I am here, you are safe enough. We will get through this inch by inch. You cannot think clearly if your body believes it is in constant emergency. So you tend your body, and little by little your mind will start to listen. Then, when you have paused and given your nervous system a little love, you choose one small step. Not 50, not the whole life plan. One step. When we are in crisis, our imagination jumps straight to the entire future and says, it's ruined, it's hopeless, it's too big. That is overwhelming. So you bring it back to something you can do in this hour. Perhaps you pick up the phone and call one person who can hold space for you. Perhaps you send one email asking for help. Perhaps you tidy one tiny corner of your room, a desk, a drawer, a sink, so that one part of your environment reflects order instead of chaos. Perhaps you sit and write 10 honest lines in a notebook. This is how I feel. This is what I'm afraid of. This is what I need. That one step is more powerful than 1,000 hours of spiraling. It tells your soul, I am not completely powerless. I can do something. I can move, even while I'm scared. And you know, when you stack one small step on another and another, you eventually look back and realize you walked yourself out of the darkest valley, one tiny action at a time. Now let's talk about what not to do. Because in our pain, we often hurt ourselves without realizing. The first thing I want you to gently avoid is attacking yourself. When things fall apart, the old critical voice will try to scream, you failed. You ruined everything. This proves you're not good enough. That voice is not the truth. It is a wound speaking. It is an echo of old judgments, old shaming, old perfectionism. When you repeat those words to yourself, you are kicking someone who is already on the floor. You would not do that to a child who has just lost their home, their family, their stability. You would not look into their eyes and say, this is your fault. You are a disaster. Do not do it to yourself. When you hear that harsh inner voice, take a breath and say, no, I am doing the best I can with what I know right now. I refuse to call myself a failure. You are allowed to acknowledge mistakes without turning your entire being into a mistake. The second thing I invite you to stop doing is clinging desperately to what is already leaving. I know this one is hard. We try to hold on to relationships that are clearly done, to jobs that are clearly crushing us, to plans that are clearly not working. The more they slip through our fingers, the tighter we squeeze, the more we suffer. Sometimes the kindest, bravest act is to let go of the rope that is burning your hands. If a person has stepped out of your life, begging them to stay rarely creates real love. If a door has closed 1,000 times, pounding on it harder rarely opens it in a healthy way. You are allowed to grieve, to cry, to miss what was, and you are also allowed to say, if this is truly done, I will not torture myself by dragging it behind me. Letting go is not failure. Letting go is making space. When you stop clinging to what's leaving, your hands become free to receive what's coming. The third don't is one of the most important. Do not use this season of collapse as evidence that you are unworthy. Bad things happening do not mean you are a bad person. Loss does not mean you are less. Change does not mean you are cursed. When you link "my life is falling apart" with "this proves I don't deserve good," you carve a cruel message into your heart. You teach yourself to expect punishment, to distrust blessings, to see every difficulty as proof that life hates you. That is simply not true. Life may be messy, unpredictable, and sometimes deeply painful, but that does not change your worth. You are worthy when things are smooth. You are worthy when things are shattered. Your circumstances are chapters in the book. They are not the value of the author. When you catch yourself thinking, "This is happening because I'm not enough," gently correct it. "This is happening and I am still enough." One little word, "still," can save your life. Because I know how it feels to tremble in the storm, I want to offer you a few sentences you can hold on to like a handrail when the winds are the strongest. You don't have to shout them. You can whisper them on the bathroom floor, in your car, lying awake at 3 a.m. Let them be soft, but let them be clear. The first one is, "I am safe in this moment." Not "I know exactly how my life will go." Not "I love this." Simply, right now, in this breath, I am not being attacked. I am breathing. I am here. I am safe enough to take this breath. The nervous system needs present moment truth, not catastrophic predictions. The second affirmation is, "I trust that life is rearranging things for my highest good." Maybe you don't feel that yet. That's all right. You can add, "I am willing to trust," if that feels kinder. Say, "I am willing to trust that there is some intelligence, some love, some wisdom in this process, even if I cannot see it yet." You are speaking to that deeper part of you that senses there is more to your story than this chapter. The third sentence, "I release what is no longer meant for me." This doesn't mean you don't care. It means you are choosing not to hold on to what life has already started to loosen. You are acknowledging that some things, some people, some versions of you belong to old seasons. As you say this, you might even imagine opening your hands, unclenching your jaw, letting your shoulders drop. You are giving yourself permission to stop resisting what is clearly shifting. The fourth affirmation is one of my favorites. "I love and support myself." In the middle of the drama, choose to become your own ally instead of your own enemy. Maybe nobody else understands what you're going through. Maybe people are judging from the outside. But you can stand inside your own heart and say, I am on my side. I am not leaving me. I will be as kind to myself as I wish others had been. When you love and support yourself, you stop asking every person and situation to prove that you are lovable. You bring love with you. And finally, let this sink in. Good is finding its way to me. Not someday when I'm perfect. Not if I never make a mistake again. Right now, even here, good is on its way. A new understanding, a new strength, a new person, a new opportunity, a new level of peace. You don't have to know what it is yet. You only have to leave the door slightly open. Say, even now, even here, I am not abandoned by life. I am in transition. Sweetheart, I am not asking you to pretend this season is easy. I am inviting you to remember, even as you fall, that you are not powerless, you are not alone, and you are not worthless. You can stop for a moment. You can care for your body. You can take one small step. You can refuse to insult yourself. You can practice letting go. You can refuse to use hardship as proof that you are undeserving. And you can wrap yourself over and over in simple, loving affirmations that help your heart stand a little straighter in the storm. You are not the disaster. You are the one walking through it. And as you walk, gently, slowly, breath by breath, you will find that the same place that felt like the end becomes the beginning of a version of you that is softer, stronger, clearer, and far more loving toward yourself. Life loves you. You are learning to love you too. And together, that love will carry you to the other side of this. Sweetheart, as we close, I want you to hold one simple picture in your heart. The storm is not here to destroy your path. It is here to clear your path. The wind that feels so harsh may be blowing away what you could never bring yourself to release. The waves that feel so high may be washing off what no longer belongs to you. You are not being punished. You are being redirected. You are being untangled. You are being led back to the places, the people, and the version of yourself that truly fit. So when you notice that things are falling apart, place a gentle hand over your heart and whisper, maybe, just maybe, things are falling into place. You don't have to see the full picture. You don't have to love this chapter yet. You only need a tiny opening in your mind where hope can breathe. I bless you with peace in the middle of uncertainty, with strength in the middle of change, and with softness toward your own heart. May you feel guided. May you feel supported. May you remember again and again, you are not alone, you are not broken, and life loves you more than you know.